The Curious Kitten, and The Magic Pond, a Tiny Tales Land read aloud story. Coco the kitten scampered through the enchanted forest, her fluffy tail flicking excitedly. The stars twinkled above, and the leaves rustled as if whispering secrets. Then, something glowed ahead. A shimmering pond, glowing soft blue like moonlight trapped in water. Coco's whiskers twitched. "A magic pond?" she whispered. Maybe it grants wishes." She sat by the edge, tail curling around her paws. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered, "I wish for a tower of fish treats, a never-ending feast." Plop! Coco's ears perked up. The water rippled, but nothing happened. She frowned. Maybe it didn't hear me. Try again? What do you think? Should Coco try another wish? She puffed out her chest, eyes gleaming with determination. "I wish to be the fastest runner in Tiny Tales Land. Zoom like the wind." Plop! Nothing. Not even a tiny gust of wind to speed her up. Coco's tail drooped. "This pond must be broken." Or maybe a deep, wise voice echoed. Coco spun around. There, sitting on a lily pad, was Willow the Wise Frog, his big round eyes twinkling. "Maybe wishes don't work the way you think." Coco tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Willow chuckled. "Real magic isn't about getting things instantly. It's about what you do to make them happen." Coco blinked. "But I don't want to work for fish treats. That sounds exhausting." Willow grinned. "Oh? What if working for it makes it taste even better?" Coco's nose wrinkled. "How?" Willow flicked his webbed fingers. "Try catching your own fish, work for it, and then see how good it feels." Coco hesitated. Then, with a determined nod, she padded over to the pond, crouched low, and swipe. Her paw hit the water, but the fish darted away. She tried again, and again, and again, and then splash! She caught one. She stared at the fish, then at Willow. She took a bite. Her eyes widened. "Whoa! This is the best fish I've ever tasted!" Willow winked. "See, that's the real magic. Effort and patience." Coco purred. The magic pond wasn't broken after all. She had just been looking for the wrong kind of magic. Hey, Tiny Tales friends! Did you enjoy Coco's adventure? Give a big thumbs up if you think working hard makes things even better. And don't forget, subscribe for more magical tales in Tiny Tales Land. See you next time.
Hello there, young adventurers. It's me, CJ, your friendly storyteller. Today, we're diving into Curious Tale from Tiny Tales Land, where a wise friend, Jasper Hootsworth the Owl, faces a tricky riddle. But wait, will Jasper's pride get in the way, or will he learn that even the wisest needs a little help sometimes? Let's jump into it and let's find out. One bright morning in Tiny Tales Land, Jasper Hootsworth perched on his favourite tree trunk, and a mysterious scroll clutched in his talons. His feathers fluffed up with pride as he read the words scrawled across the parchment. "A riddle to test my wisdom," he mused. "I'll solve this on my own and prove I'm the wisest in the forest." Just then Barnaby the bear ambled over, humming a cheerful tune and munching on a honeycomb. "Hey Jasper, what have you got there?" Barnaby asked, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "It's a riddle," Jasper declared, puffing up his chest, "and I'm going to solve it all by myself." Barnaby tilted his head. Why don't we solve it together, Jasper? 2 heads are better than 1. Jasper shook his head. No, Barnaby. Wisdom means doing things on your own. I can handle this. No, hold on a second, friends. What do you think? Is Jasper right? Is it better to solve things alone or with someone else? Let's find out. Jasper cleared his throat and read the riddle aloud. I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I? Jasper scratched his beak. Not alive, but grows. No lungs, needs air. He stared at the scroll so hard you might think it burst into flames. But that wouldn't be good, would it? Barnaby tapped his paw against his chin. It sounds tricky, but I bet the answer's closer than you think. Please, Barnaby, Jasper huffed. I can solve this on my own. Minutes passed. Jasper's feathers drooped as frustration crept him. This riddle is impossible, he groaned. Barnaby gave a warm, gentle smile. You know, Jasper, sometimes the wisest thing you can do is ask for help. Being smart isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing when you need a friend. Well, what do you think, young adventurers? Is Barnaby right? Let's see what Jasper decides. Jasper sighed. All right, Barnaby, let's solve this riddle together. Barnaby's face lit up. Okay, let's think. Not alive, but grows. No lungs, but needs air. Hey, I know, it's fire! Fire grows when it has air to breathe. Jasper's eyes widened. Barnaby, that's it, you're absolutely right. He ruffled his feathers happily. Thank you for your help. Barnaby chuckled. That's what friends are for. Jasper nodded. I've learned a valuable lesson today. True wisdom isn't about knowing everything yourself. Sometimes it's about knowing when to ask for help. And from that day on, Jasper and Barnaby made the perfect team, solving riddles, mysteries, and having countless adventures together. Did you enjoy the story, young adventurers? Give a big thumbs up for Jasper and Barnaby, and if you want to join them on more exciting adventures, make sure to subscribe for more tales from Tiny Tales Land. See you again. Bye bye.
It was a quiet evening in Tiny Tales Land, the sky painted in soft pinks and deep purples. Leafy sat by the glowberry bushes, watching the little fireflies twinkle like fallen stars. Astra buzzed beside her, glowing like a tiny lantern. Leafy sighed. My glow isn't as bright as yours, Astra. What do you mean? Astra hovered near Leafy's shoulder. You don't even glow. I know! Leafy threw her hands up. That's the problem! Astra did a tiny flip in the air. But Leafy, you don't need to glow like me. You've got, well, you have... Astra hesitated. Leafy's ears drooped. Exactly. The wind rustled through the trees. Fireflies flickered around them, their tiny lights pulsing. Astra's glow was steady and warm. Leafy, on the other hand, felt invisible in the dark. You light up the forest, Leafy said. I just sit here. And you talk. A lot. Leafy gasped. Astra! Astra spun in the air, suddenly serious. Well, if you want to trade, I'll take your long legs. Do you know how hard it is to do big things when you're this tiny? Astra sighed. I can't carry berries. I can't help build things. I can't even hold a pencil. Leafy blinked. You wish you were bigger? Astra nodded. All the time. They both fell silent, lost in thought. That's when they heard it. A voice, small, scared, echoing from the trees. Hello? Is anyone there? Leafy sat up. Astra's glow pulsed brighter. Someone's lost. Without thinking, Leafy dashed into the forest, her paws barely making a sound on the moss. Astra zoomed after her, lighting the way. Deeper into the woods, the trees were thick, their shadows swallowing the moonlight. "Hello," Leafy called. "Where are you?" A rustling sound. Then a figure appeared. A young traveler, wrapped in a cloak, their eyes wide. I got turned around," they stammered. "I can't see the path." Astra hovered closer. "No problem, I'll light the way." The traveler squinted. Your light is kind of small." Astra froze. Leafy's heart ached for her friend. She stepped forward. "Then we'll do it together." Leafy stood tall, guiding the traveler with her steady steps. Astra flitted ahead, her glow bouncing off the leaves. The traveler followed, footsteps sure and steady. Step by step, glow by glow, they found their way back to the main path. The moment they emerged from the trees, the traveler sighed in relief. "Thank you. I would have been lost all night." Leafy smiled. Astra's tiny glow still flickered, proud and warm. "It wasn't just me," Leafy said. "Astra's light led the way." Astra beamed. "And Leafy's big, strong legs made sure we didn't trip over roots." The traveler waved goodbye, disappearing down the safe moonlit path. Leafy and Astra sat down, watching the stars twinkle above. "I guess I don't need to glow," Leafy said softly. "And I don't need to be big." Astra grinned, "because we're kinda perfect together." And so, Leafy and Astra learned that their strengths weren't in how bright they shined or how big they were. It was in how they helped others. Big or small, bright or not, they mattered. Did you enjoy Leafy and Astra's adventure? Give a big glowing thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more magical tales in Tiny Tales Land. The wind is restless in Tiny Tales Land, stirring up mischief and surprises. But when Seren's perfect garden is thrown into chaos, can she learn to embrace change instead of fearing it? Join us for Storytime for Kids and dive into this fairy tale adventure where the wind carries more than just leaves. It carries new possibilities. Let the adventure begin. Tiny Tales Land was peaceful until the wind had other plans. Seren stood in her garden, ears flicking nervously. The sun warmed her fur, but the wind kept playing tricks on her. She had spent hours arranging the flowers just right. Lavenders in neat rows, daisies in perfect circles, violets nestled in tidy patches. But now, petals fluttered everywhere, leaves tangled, her careful order scattered. She darted forward, catching a falling daisy petal before it hit the ground. Too late. More petals swirled up, twisting in the air before disappearing over the fence. "Oh no," she whispered, chasing a tumbling seed pod. "I just got everything in place." A laugh floated down from above. Seren looked up just in time to see Kale, the sky sprite, hovering midair, his silver blue hair swept back by the very wind she was battling. His massive wings shimmered as he drifted lazily on the breeze. A grin spread across his face. "Why are you fighting the wind, Seren?" he called, his voice light as the air. "The wind loves to dance." Seren folded her arms, scowling. "Dancing? This isn't dancing, it's ruining everything. My garden needs to stay just the way I planned." Kale flipped midair, sending a playful gust through the trees. "Ruining or improving?" Serene huffed, turning back to her plants. The carefully arranged rows were a mess, flowers leaning the wrong way, leaves crisscrossed, delicate petals scattered. It was supposed to be a peaceful, orderly garden, but now it just looked wild. "I spent all morning making it perfect," she muttered. Kyle swooped down, his wings barely making a sound as he landed beside her. He tucked his hands behind his back, studying the garden with curiosity. But perfect isn't about keeping things the same, he mused. Sometimes a little change can bring new beauty. Seren frowned. New beauty? All I see is chaos? Kale's eyes twinkled like twin moons. He raised a hand, and the wind whirled around his fingers like an invisible ribbon. Then, with a flick, he sent a gentle breeze through the garden. Seren gasped. Dandelion seeds lifted into the sky, twirling like tiny dancers. They floated, weightless, spinning toward unexpected places, over fences, past bushes, drifting toward the meadow beyond her garden. Seren's ears perked. Where are they going? Kyle smiled. Some will land far away, some nearby. And next season, new flowers will grow where you never expected them. Serene's brows knitted together. She watched as the wind carried the seeds further than she would have ever placed them herself. But what if they don't land where they should? Kale knelt beside her, plucking a tiny lavender bud from the ground. What if they land exactly where they need to? Serene didn't answer right away. She was still staring at the tiny seeds as they disappeared into the sky. She had spent so much time trying to control everything in her garden, making sure every flower had a place, that no leaf grew where it shouldn't. But now, watching the seeds float freely, she wondered, maybe some things weren't meant to be placed by hand. She turned back to Kale, narrowing her eyes. And you're telling me you do this on purpose? Kyle grinned, standing. I am the sky sprite, aren't I? It's kind of my job. He stretched his arms, and the wind stirred around him, lifting petals and leaves in playful swirls. But it's not just about stirring things up. It's about letting life move where it's meant to. Seren watched the wind's gentle mischief, the way it nudged flowers ever so slightly, shifted seeds to new homes. She took a deep breath. But what if I don't like where they go? Kyle raised an eyebrow. Do you always like surprises? Seren sighed. She didn't. Not really. She liked knowing where everything would be, how things would turn out. She liked feeling in control. But she looked back at the meadow. The seeds Kyle had sent soaring were drifting over the hill, disappearing into the distance. Maybe, somewhere out there, a beautiful flower would bloom because of this moment. She tapped her hoof against the ground, thinking. What if I try? She said slowly. Kyle's wings twitched. Try what? Seren brushed her fingers over a handful of tiny seeds resting on her palm. Instead of tucking them neatly into the soil, she opened her hands. The wind caught them instantly, lifting them high into the air. The tiny seeds spun, twisting in the sunlight, free. Serene watched them go. At first her heart raced. She almost wanted to grab them back, plant them herself, make sure they landed where she thought they should. But then, something in her let go. She smiled. Kyle watched her, his silver blue hair ruffled by the wind. See, that wasn't so bad. Seren let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. I guess. The wind does have a point. Kyle grinned, sending another playful gust through the garden. Now that's the spirit. Seren laughed, her ears twitching as the breeze wrapped around her. She tilted her head back, letting the wind rush through her fur, through her thoughts. Maybe not everything had to be controlled. Maybe change wasn't always something to fear. The wind swirled, carrying tiny seeds of possibility to places unseen, just waiting to bloom. Thanks for joining us on Windy Day Adventures. If you enjoyed this story time from Tiny Tales Land, give a big thumbs up for Seren and Kale. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another fairy tale adventure. There are always more stories waiting for you. Come back soon for your next magical journey in Tiny Tales Land.
Welcome to Tiny Tales Land, my friends. Today, We're in Yuki's workshop, a place of brilliant inventions, but oh my, what a mess. Gears here, bolts there, and blueprints scattered everywhere. Yuki the fox was humming happily, a fluffy white tail twitching as she worked on her newest project, a mechanical book sorting device. This is going to be the best invention ever, she declared, tossing blueprints over her shoulder. Suddenly, Jasper Hootsworth the owl flew into the workshop, his feathers slightly ruffled. Yuki, my library project blueprints, where did they go? They were supposed to be in order, and now the shelves are all wrong. Yuki scratched her head. I'm sure I left them on my desk, or maybe under the pile of springs, or in the corner over near the gears. Jasper sighed, adjusting his spectacles. Yuki, being organized saves time. We're going to have to fix this mix-up. All right. We'll find those blueprints together, Yuki said, biting her lip. Let's get organized. Hey, have you ever lost something important? Like a favorite toy or a book? It can be frustrating, huh? Together, they began sorting the mess. Yuki found a small basket and started placing gears and bolts inside, while Jasper neatly stacked papers. Look at this! I've found your missing library blueprints, Jasper declared triumphantly. Phew, that's a relief, Yuki said. But this was exhausting. What if I made an organization machine? Jasper chuckled. Or you could simply keep your workshop tidy in the first place, my friend. Yuki paused, then giggled. You might be onto something. Being organized is probably easier than creating another machine, right? As they worked together, they found lost items. Yuki's favorite screwdriver, a missing bolt for a project, and even a forgotten snack. By the end of the day, the workshop looked wonderful. Jasper fluffed his feathers proudly. See? How much better it feels when you have everything in order. Now I can build my library shelves properly. Yuki nodded, her golden eyes sparkling. Thanks, Jasper. From now on, I'll keep my workshop neat. I might even invent a machine to help others stay organized too. Aww, Jasper said with a twinkle in his eye. You can call it common sense. Alright, Yuki laughed. Let's call it a lesson learned. So what about you? Is there a special place you keep neat and tidy? Give a thumbs up for Yuki, as she learned a good lesson today. Join us next time in Tiny Tales Land for more adventures. Until next time, stay curious and stay organized.